my chest till I gave in. Something about you felt like a haven, but you sucked the life out from my core. Told me my victories were yours, but it was mine, it was all mine. I've been seeing through the cracks in the walls around me. Now I know that you're nothing without me. Well, I've been feeling like you knew me. You wouldn't even know me if you knew me. I traded up for something more my size. I put the light back in line. Better than you're ever gonna be. I know that you get off on all the worst to me. I traded up and cut all of the ties. I put the light back in my eyes. No. I put the light back in my eyes. No. I put the light back. Bad days just got better. Get my name off your vendetta. It ain't pretty to be so damn bitter. I know you're mad cause I'm such a hard hitter, but you can keep what you stole. No, you don't get that control of me. I've been feeling like you knew me. You wouldn't even know me if you knew me. I traded up for something more my size. I put the light back in line. Better than you're ever gonna be. I know that you get off on all the worst to me. I traded up and cut all of the ties. I put the light back in my eyes. No. I put the light back in my eyes. No. I put the light back. It was mine, it was all mine. I've been seeing through the cracks in the walls around me. Now I know that you're nothing without me. I've been feeling like you knew me. You wouldn't even know me if you knew me. I traded up for something more my size. I put the light back in line. Better than you're ever gonna be. I know that you get off on all the worst of me. I traded up and cut all of the ties. I put the light back in my eyes. I put the light back in my eyes.
I'm focused. I've been watching for the omens. I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it. Yeah, I've only just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. waiting for this moment, the final battle of the chosen. See, I'm never gonna quit, got my legacy set in motion. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. Welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. 'Cause the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You build your fortress and I'll climb your walls. You got your armor, but I see your flaws. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. Bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Funny how the story goes, little hope but bigger dreams. They try to bring a sucker down, singing louder than the crowd. Listen to the rhythm, I'm feeling brand new. Keep pushing forward, it's gonna save you. Never look down, love, not when we shine so bright. The sun is getting warmer. Oh, when we soar away among the clouds, the sky is just a border. Oh, when we're floating up like helium. Set me up like lemonade. We both know it's bittersweet. The sorrowness will bite your tongue. No one is forever young. No. Listen to the rhythm, I'm feeling brand new. Keep pushing forward, it's gonna save you. Never look down, love, not when we shine so bright. I know the sun is getting warmer. Oh, when we soar away among the clouds, the sky is just a border. Oh, when we're floating up like helium.
Yo. Patrick, how are you?
Good, man. What about you?
Living the dream. Living the dream, as always. As always. It has been a very busy week this last week. So, Matthew is there. Matthew. Hello, Matthew. I didn't recall seeing Matthew in the chat at all, and I was wondering if he was just taking a much deserved respite after this last week, but there Matthew is in all his glory. Welcome, Matthew. I hope you're doing well. I hope you got some sleep, Matthew. You deserved it. So, how is everybody else? Great to see everyone. Scott, I see you Scott Sewell in the chat. So we got a lot of the cat crew is here. So I saw Alex, I saw Matthew, I saw Scott. I don't know if I saw anyone else. That's okay. It's all right. It's good to be on Saturday, though. We got Thanksgiving week coming up. So got some days off at the office, which is always good. Thanksgiving in the U.S., if you are there and participating, hopefully you stay safe with your family and friends. It'll be great. So, all right, Matthew, YouTube can't handle all of my glory. This is true. This is true. This is why we only have you on occasionally. We don't want to break YouTube. Yes. All right. If you are new to Gynacube or new to the live stream in general, put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing the new faces. Always great to have new folks joining in. Heidi says our jackets look fly. Yeah, it's cold. And I saw that he grabbed, this is our, the internal Microsoft team jacket. I saw he had it, so I grabbed mine as well. So it's nice. It's nice and cozy, warm. All right. And then also shout out to the members of Gynacube. We appreciate everything you do to help us do what we do. It's very much appreciated. It always blows Patrick and I away at the support of the community. We appreciate it. So thank you. If you see folks with the green name or the Gynacube logo next to them, those are members of Gynacube. So you can hit up the link on the screen or hit the join button down below if you're watching on YouTube, just to learn more. No commitment required. Just thank you. Thank you so much for that. And then members, also hold off your questions till the halfway mark. We will cut over to member-only chat where members and moderators can participate. Everyone else can still watch the stream, but won't be able to participate in the chat directly. Super chats always take priority. So just know that. So Patrick, what shoes are you wearing? What are you wearing?
Right now? That I have on my feet?
I don't know. Alex, you were talking about Air Jordans.
Oh, he's talking about this shoe.
Okay.
This shoe on my shelf.
All right.
It's a rotating sneaker.
You're probably wearing like sandals or something right now.
I'm wearing Crocs right now.
Okay.
I'm wearing
sporting the
that
Crocs.
match this shirt, actually.
Are they Air Crocs?
I don't know what that means.
You should say yes because they have holes in them and their air gets through.
Yes.
Like instead of Air Jordans,
socks.
they're
Air socks, ball coop.
They're Air Crocs.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of Air Jordans.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway. Oh, yes. All right. So we've got Dimitris is new. Oscar's new. Mokhtar is new. Thomas, you're not new. Maxime is new. Shubham is new. Kevin, you're new? Or maybe it's a different Kevin. I've seen other just Kevins in the chat before, but maybe you're a different Kevin. I don't know. So what other, any other, Victorino is new from Mozambique. Wow. Welcome. Thomas, not new. Stina said that was a bad dad joke. No, all dad jokes are good dad jokes.
All dad jokes
are good dad jokes. Yes. And then
thank you, Jason. Thank you.
Kai Quebec is new from Brazil. Very nice. What did Jason say? Nice Yeti.
Nice Yeti. Yeah.
Yeah. Sporting the Power BI. I bet you it has the old logo. Or icon.
It actually says Microsoft. It just says Microsoft.
Oh, I was thinking of the one behind you on the shelf.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, that guy is awesome. Yeah.
Average Avenger Nerd Dad. Sorry, I almost said average Nerd Dad. Nick, how you doing, buddy? He said our jackets are making him cold a bit. Well, go get a jacket. Yeah. Shannon's waving. Hello, Shannon. All right. Marco says he's from Peru. Wow, welcome. It always amazes me, like just folks from around the world coming together. That's amazing. All right. Yes. Yeah. Matthew, at the last in-person power hour we had, he was throwing that in the room. That was great. Oh, 1,300 folks in a room. That was the day, man. Oh. All right. Let's talk about questions here. So, so questions, put Q colon in front of your question, get them into the queue. Chatmaster C is standing by. You only have to do it one time and it will get in the queue. Please do not spam. You will get put into a timeout either by Chatmaster C or one of our lovely moderators, the folks with the blue name or the wrench next to them. Perhaps a sword will come out at you as well. I don't know. It's always a mystery what will happen here in the Saturday morning chat. So just one time, get it in. We get to as many as we can. We never get to all of them, so sorry. And then members, hold off on your questions until Chatmaster C gives you the go ahead. Will is here. Yeah, Power Hour was like 84 years ago. It feels that way, man. Oh, I can't wait to do something like that again. And Alex sporting the paperclip emoji in the chat. Love it. Alrighty. Are you ready, Patrick?
Yes, I am.
First question. I'm just going to go with Van on this one. Dashboard composed of pin tiles. I want a user to drill only to the tiled report site. No other unhidden sites in the underlying report. Any quality control solutions, quick and clean.
So they just want to go. So my guess is I create a report. Let's say I have a card on it, and then I pin it to a dashboard. When I pin it, it just goes to that page, and I don't want to see any other pages or anything else like that in that report. Not possible.
It is possible. Well, it's maybe possible. It depends. You could technically hide all of the pages, and then
but he said
there'll be one page that will be shown. You could hide all the other pages though, and then so when they go to hit that page, they won't see the other pages there outside of the main overview page.
But I'm sure he's going to have many unhidden pages. So
I would imagine so, which is also not a good report strategy to have many pages. I don't recommend that. Yeah. All right. Oh, excellent. Let's see here. Evan, two-parter. 2 parts. I have a calendar, dim, and fact table for tickets. Excellent. I love that you have a calendar table. I want to calc rolling sum of days a ticket is open. Okay. Dim has the ticket status. Fact table has 1 row per ticket with start and end dates. All right. Part 2. I want my rolling sum of days open to not restart when a month changes, but I want to see month and year in my visual. What? How can I do that? See rolling sum of days. Okay. So
if I understand correctly, there's a fact table. I have a ticket, right? Ticket ID, start today. I don't have an end date yet. And so it's open. The ticket's open because I don't have an end date.
Yep.
I have a row that looks like that. And then there's a relationship on one of those dates, right? And if you do just the date diff, if it doesn't have a date, it's just today. If it does have an end date, it's whatever end date's in that thing. Yep. You do a date diff on that, then I sum those days. That's always going to show me the sum of those days, right? Now, where do you want to show it based on start or end? That's going to determine the relationship between your count. Where is month and year coming from? Is it based on start? Is it based on end? Is it based on today? You'll have to control that in your DAX. And so this is Matthias is saying what I'm saying. And the only reason I know this because there's a book called DAX Patterns that I read, and they have a pattern to show you how to do this in that book. But you'll have to control
Yeah.
where month and year is coming from. Is it, start? Is it end? You'll have to control that in the
Well,
Evan saying calendar's disconnected.
Why is the calendar disconnected?
Well, because of the start and end, right? He's trying to figure out, I think that's the challenge, trying to figure out where this month and year come from, because there's a start date and an end date on my fact table, So what is it based on? Where is it based on? Am I showing month and year based on start? Am I showing month and year based on end? And so you have to create a virtual relationship if it's disconnected. Look at DAX patterns. The solution is in there.
The challenge here, though, is
that we can.
So here's the problem, though, that I'm seeing is that, so they're saying we want days open not to restart when the month changes. So we want the total. So say it was in January and I'm in March. I want the complete days open, right? But he wants to see the month and year in the visual. And I'm like, well, that's going to slice certain things. But from a DAX perspective, you can, you can basically ignore that from a DAX perspective.
You can ignore
it.
You can ignore it. You can completely ignore it.
But then I'm like, well, are you showing them, like, what about the month and year are you showing? Like, what's the relevance of the month and year in the visual? Like, how does that relate to the number that you're showing? Because
I can think, if I look at a ticket, I want to see how many days that ticket has been open, you know? And I look at, that's all I care about. But anyway, events and prior. Yeah.
What was that? What?
Go to DAX patterns. You have these aren't questions that we were talking about this before. So we can give you some guidance, but we can't give you a specific answer without actually tinkering with this. And so if you check out DAX patterns, events in progress. That's it. And so if you check that out, that should be the solution. If not, come back with some more details.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Watching the side chat between Matthew and Will about SQL bits. Matthew's got the Gartner. He's got the Gartner conference the week right after, and he's probably gonna have to do the bake off. Then Matthew was like, "It's hard. It's hard having an important job." No, Matthew's not.
Wait,
Matthew's going to bits.
What do you want me to play?
Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh! How does Matthew equate to what do you want to play? Tell it Man of War.
Do you know what I mean?
I just plugged it back up.
Tell it Man of War.
Just plugged it back up.
Tell it Man of War. Actually, don't tell it because I don't want it playing Man of War while we're on a stream because then YouTube's going to demonetize me.
I unplugged it.
Yeah, Matthew. I knew that would get Matthew.
I plug it on the weekends and I unplug it during the week because I don't want going off during Teams calls and stuff at work.
So, but the live stream is fine.
I plug it as soon as I come down on Saturday morning.
All right. Matthias has a question here. I recently discovered that with analyzing Excel plus cube formulas, OLAP tools, in Excel, you have a full spreadsheet flexibility. So why would I need paginated reports?
Oh, boy.
Chris in the chat? I haven't seen Chris in the chat yet. This may wake him up.
I don't know. I don't know if Chris would care as much these days.
He would. He's still there.
Yeah, if Chris was here.
Look, if you have a tool preference for what you're trying to accomplish and what your goals are for your business, and that's Excel, go for it. Is it the right tool for what you're trying to do? Maybe not.
There you go. But Paginated Report can do so much more, and Excel can do so much more. Two completely different things. You got to find one that fits the problem that you're trying to solve.
Well, so let me also put it this way. So Excel, you've got your spreadsheet, right? You got cells. You can format that. You can tinker with it. Paginated's pixel perfect, right? You can control the output of that for printed output in an easier way than what you can do in Excel. I would argue from that perspective. So use the right tool for the job. And you need to, and that's sometimes that's a business decision in terms of what you want to figure out and go with. So, if Excel works for you with the cube functions and you want to go through all that rigmarole, then more power to you. All right, so let's see here. What is the best way to upgrade Analysis Services 2016 Tabular to Analysis Services 2019 so that I can take advantage of Power Query. Currently, my data source is SQL. So one thing, this is just a nit on my end. You said cube. I think you mean a model. So cube is multidimensional. Model is tabular. In terms of upgrading, you can just upgrade, download the installer and upgrade it. And then you would have to, my understanding for the data source piece is you would have to redefine the data source for the Power Query versus the legacy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's right. But take the same, if you're upgrading, and I haven't upgraded a SQL server, a SSAS server in a million years. Yes, a million years. Take the same precautions, back up your databases, do everything you need to do before you do that upgrade, just in case it fails. Don't just download and run the upgrade. I'm assuming you've already thought about those things, but make sure you back up. Before you do that.
And after you've done that, make sure you back up. Actually, and I will also add, a backup strategy is not complete until you successfully restored.
Yes, test the restores. You gotta.
I'm just going back into my old days when we actually had to do that kind of stuff.
Well, and all the security too, because everything that you set up for that machine, a lot of times people forget that they went and added certain people as administrators on that machine, and they have to rebuild from scratch, and they don't add those back. So there's so many things you gotta look at, all your settings. There's so many things.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. David, yes, check the restore. And then the other David, test the backup. Yes. All right. Vasudev, this is like a 3-parter. This is let's see if we can do this. I have 5 years worth of fund data, which gets monthly feed. Okay. So we get updated monthly. I have a challenge to showcase current month value and then previous month value and then percent change between those. Okay. It's pretty standard. And then he's giving the actual structure. Next month, it would automatically change. Okay, so the columns actually change that are coming in.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
You need need a consistent structure.
Well,
Otherwise, you got to account.
It's not even a consistent structure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't use that. Don't create your model like that. That's an ugly, ugly baby. I'm just saying. That's an ugly baby. Don't do that. Take some, regardless of how it comes in. Go ahead.
Well, you're saying don't do that. Specifically, what do you mean by don't do?
So if the structure of it is that column category, that column subcategory, that column November, October, right? Those are column headers. The dates should not be column headers. The dates should be values in a column. And so you have a bigger problem.
Pivot that
here.
So I think the challenge here is,
I am about data models.
I know.
You know how I am about data models.
Yeah. The challenge here is we need to get the ETL right in order to accommodate those files. And if those files change every month, you need to account for that. So you could do the pivot and the unpivot. I'm thinking from a Power Query perspective, though, for each file, the metadata is changing. So if column 3 say is November 2021, and then the next file it's December 2021, like that's
but we know the pattern here, though.
No, I know.
But we know the pattern here. We know the pattern. So I did something really funky in Power Query this week. I had no idea you can go and put ifs and things like that inside the code. I mean, you can go write code to check that, increment it, and have it detect it and write. It's gonna be some work. But what is Maxim's Roachum? Whatever. What do you call it?
Maxim's Roachum.
What do you
Roach
call
is Maxim. Yes.
Roach is Maxim.
Yes.
So if you can do this upstream, so before you get to Power
Transforms
Query,
should be done as far upstream as possible and as far downstream as necessary.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
But yes, everyone's chiming in the chat too. Unpivot. Unpivot is your friend. Yes. I always get pivot and unpivot reverse. So I just pivot the thing, and it's if pivot didn't work, then do the unpivot. It's just do one of them. One of them is your friend. Yeah. That's all I know.
Yeah.
All right. Vasudev, I hope that helps you. I hope.
Maxim Roach.
Oh, man. Did you see Will's comment?
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it.
Maxim Roach, the Grateful Dead cover band. That's awesome. Upstream
Roach is
something
Maxim.
something. Yes. Matthew, I don't know. I think I told you this, but how long it took me to actually get that right. Like I always reversed it. It was a struggle. The struggle is real. All right, here we go. Noah. This is an Alex question. What book is recommended for Power Query that's the equivalent to the Definitive Guide to DAX? What other books are recommended that can improve my Power or my BI capabilities? Anything on visualization? So I know Alex dropped a link early on in the stream. There was, I don't know if it was a Learn or something of that nature. I know it was going off at docs.microsoft.com. Definitely check that out. I know Gil Revive's got a book. I think it's a little old, but I think it's still relevant. So I don't remember hey, Alex, if you can drop a link to that as well.
Did
Alex
Reza just release a Power Query book? Yeah, they did.
Okay. Mark Beadle, Ken Pohl's second edition of Data Monkey is a good one. Yes, that one as well. So Alex dropped the language specification. That's a little hardcore. And then so there's some books out there. So Ken Pohl's is definitely a guy. I know Gil Revive's book. A lot of people have touted. Yeah, Kerbal, Matthias. Kerbal's YouTube channel. She's got a lot of Power Query stuff there.
Mastering Power Query and Power BI in Excel by Reza Rad and Layla. Yes, that's a good book. It's got good reviews on Amazon too.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. So there you go. On visualization, because you said anything on visualizations, check out the new Learn course on visualizations that was just recently published.
Yes.
Hey, Alex, if you can drop the link for the visualizations Learn course, that would be appreciated. So yeah, that's some good stuff. I know there was a lot of hard work that went into that one. All right, putting Alex to work this morning. I'm done with typing after this last week. I'm just done with typing. All right, Igor. Let's say I decided to delete. Ooh, I had to keep reading. I was like, please tell me you didn't delete your database. Let's say I decided to delete one of the columns from my data set in Power BI Desktop, and I do it from the table view. Okay. Will this delete flow back to the Power Query? Also,
Yes.
He's new. Welcome, Igor.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Did you do a video on this?
It does. Yeah, but I mean, I just did it because I wanted to reconfirm myself. I just did it over here, and it actually adds a step in the query editor to remove that column. Yeah,
That's
it
bananas.
does. It flows back.
That is bananas.
Yeah, it does.
Look at that. That's nice.
Yeah. It does.
Yes. Cool. Nice. It's like magic. Or
Yeah, it's like magic.
Or
No,
it's like Kerberos. It just works. Sorry. Just saying. Yeah, Mark. Like that's possible. I had no idea. Yeah, stuff just works. I love when stuff just works. Just like Kerberos. Eric. I keep getting not enough storage available. Okay. Message when performing data flows to an on-prem SQL. Ooh, on-prem has plenty of space. Gateway server has very little. Does the gateway cap the space? So I don't know where that message is coming from, at what point in the process that's bubbling that up. So one thing I would say is on the gateway in the logs, if we see an actual exception in the log saying not enough storage available, then it's, and also you could tell there if it's coming from the SQL server or from the gateway itself at that point, and then go figure it out. So, I mean, when you say not enough space on the gateway, like, what does that mean? Like, hopefully there's enough, I would hope you have enough hard drives cheap. So, because the other thing is if you don't have enough hard drive space on the gateway box, that means you also don't have enough hard drive space for your OS. and any caching that the OS is going to do, which causes other problems. So that's confusing to me. And then so Alex is also Alex is commenting too. There's limits on the table throughput on the gateway, but I don't know if that would equate to the storage error specifically. Like the storage error is a specific. That's a fairly specific error. So yeah. So I mean, check the gateway logs and see if you can find the error there. If it is, then it's coming from that or a step before that. If you don't see it anywhere there, then maybe it's coming on the data flow side. I'm not sure. But I'd be curious. Also, like how much are you trying to pump through it? And at that point, can we alter the data flow, or like maybe data flow is not the right option for this? I don't know. There's a lot of things going on there. Alex is saying he'd be curious about the actual error message. Yep, I agree. So it could be at different points in the stage. So we just got to debug and figure out where that is coming from, and then figure out how to adjust it. So yes. Yep. Great point, Matthew. Check, make sure things are folding. The other thing recently I've been coming into working with some customers on data flows is if you're trying to pull in like a bunch of different things and like you have different entities coming from different data sources and all that, if you can simplify it, maybe try splitting it out to different data flows. That may help to just lessen the complexity of the data flow. So that those might be things that may affect what's going on as well. Okay. Anything to add, Patrick?
Nope. I've had my journeys with data flows over the past 2 days, and I'm just gonna leave it alone for now.
Yes. Okay. So Denise has a question, and did you attend CAB, and what did you learn? So CAB is that's a specific thing on the Microsoft side, and that was what was last week. That's how I did a lot of typing. So yes, I attended CAB. What did I learn? A lot of NDA stuff that I can't talk about.
Well, I want to tell all the stuff I learned. I want to talk about all the stuff I learned.
But anyway, all right. Let's see here. Sergey. Do you know, will spark lines in a matrix be a square or a rectangular?
So it's coming. It's in the release notes that we're going to add spark lines to the matrix.
Yeah.
So Will, what are they going to be? I think it's just going to fit the cell. So
Yeah,
it'll be
it's
a
just in the
rectangle.
cell.
Or if you squish the cell enough, it'll be a square. If you make it wide aleugh, it's going to be a rectangle.
There you go. So going back to the CAB question, so I see Alex is jumping in there. He's learned that 7 a.m. is rough. So it was early morning. So it was worse for the folks in Redmond. So the thing I learned in the CAB, I can share this. A lot of people know about Dynamically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the other Sparkline thing. I like Will's response better than mine. I was kind of being a little sarcastic, but
yeah,
it's going to be controllable. It'll be responsive. It'll be responsive.
Wasn't that one? Wasn't that one? Be... Which one was? Oh, he said I think it's controllable.
Controllable.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Did you see Matthew's comment? Did you see Matthew? You see?
Yeah. It's there were some moments actually. There was a lot of good stuff. I'm excited.
He sent me a message.
I did send you a message.
I was tearing
up a little bit. I was tearing up a little bit. I was tearing up.
Kind of a big deal. That's all right. You're kind of a big deal.
No.
Hey, I have a sign. I have a sign to prove it.
Okay.
Look.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, you're kind of a big deal.
All right. Moving on. All right. We did Sergey. Bruce. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 10 o'clock. Oh my gosh.
One more.
All right.
One more.
I'm gonna get one more, and then Chatmaster C can do her thing. So Bruce, Why did they break IntelliSense, and will they please fix it or rewind it back to how it worked before? I'm not sure how it broke. If we're talking about DAX, I do all my DAX in DAX Studio, so I don't really notice when things break in the editor in Power BI Desktop. So I don't know. Maybe if it actually did break, maybe open a support ticket. But yeah, Alex is right. DAX or M? Like, what are we talking about there? Open up a support ticket. Maybe that'll, maybe it's just a regression. Bruce said yes, DAX. Okay. Yeah.
It's broken in DAX?
Maybe it's possible it's a regression. So.
Let me see.
So
it's not broken.
Santosh's comment, yes, IntelliSense is horrible. That's a whole different thing. Versus like it broke but yeah. So.
It's working.
Check it out.
It's working.
No, I know they made an update recently to it, so maybe that affected some things. Get a support case.
Oh.
Get a support case.
Now he's right about this though. He's right. The search is a little off. It's slow. The search is a little. I noticed that this morning when I was trying to do something. It is a little off.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. We are at the halfway mark, so we are going to cut over to member only chat. I know members are starting to get their questions in. Get your questions in, members. We are this will be member only chat where members and moderators can participate. Other folks, you're welcome to stay and learn and hear answers to questions. But you won't be able to participate in the chat directly unless you become a member. And then also super chats always take priority. If you do a super chat, be sure to write the question in if that's your intent. If you're just doing a super chat to do super chat, awesome, we appreciate it. But if you did do it for a question, be sure to write the question in. All right, let's go over to member only chat. Done.
Not that many.
What? Did you say not that many?
Not that I don't see any. Oh, here we go.
Well, there's a few. There's a few in the queue. It's fine. It'll
Yeah.
come. All right. So one of the benefits of being a member is you can pre-submit questions. So you have to be at the visitor or producer tier to be able to pre-submit your questions. And we do have a few this week. So we are going to go through those. So you ready for the first one, Patrick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, Mr. Tom, new requirement is to make everything available in any selected currency. I know that I can add a table with exchange rates and use disconnected slicers to select the desired one, but what then? Not lazy. But is there an easier way to make everything show in the selected currency besides adding measure X, the selected exchange rate, all over the place? What say you, Patrick?
He's not lazy. He's just efficient. He's just efficient. So, Tom, all I'm gonna say is calculation groups, and I've been stuck on calculation groups. I love calculation groups, and so SQL BI's got a blog post on currency conversion with calculation groups. You should go look at it. If they wrote it, it solves all of your challenges. So go take a look at it, read it, Tom, and walk through the steps to implement it. I almost start building it out, and I was like, these guys already have it. And then send me if you have more questions, or shoot us a note. But I think that'll solve your problem. I'll put a link in the chat. All
right. Look at that, Patrick. Using the chat. The chat is your friend. All right, Shauna, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated. And then Wyatt, thank you so much for the super chat. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Although you're not in the U.S. So, but yeah, thank you. Let's see here. All right, the next one. Are you ready, Patrick?
Yep.
All right. I have a bar chart that has a subcategory sorted by revenue descending. All right, that's good. Is there a way to have one subcategory always on the bottom while keeping the rest of the order the same? And this is from Joe. All right. What are your thoughts, Patrick?
Oh man. Well, I tinkered with this, so I'm gonna make you guys laugh. So when you sent this, I looked at it on my phone last night, which is a huge mistake. So at 2 a.m. this morning, I was laying in my bed staring at the ceiling, and I was like, how could you take that and move it to the bottom? And then I had an idea to use rank. But the problem is I can't override the sort.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to Adam. He's like, yeah, but you can't override the sort, right? You can't override the sort to move it to the bottom. So that's the big challenge. I mean, I figured out how to do a rank to omit that rank for that particular category, or even explode it out to something, or make it really small so it's always at the bottom. But even if I could control the rank, I still can't control the sort. I can't override the sort that's in that chart. So I got stuck on that one, man.
So I'm going to put a blog. Gerhard's got a blog out there that talks about having like an other bucket, and you can do top end and all of that. So that, and based on what Joe sent us, I think he already knows that. Like he's got that covered. But the challenge is how do I always make sure that other is at the bottom? And like Patrick said, I'm like, if they sort by another measure, boom. Like you could start off, if you have those categories in a certain order, you could do the sort by to get the default sort for the categories. But the minute you sort by one of the measures, it's going to override it. So outside of that, if you want like the table or matrix to have that capability, you're going to have to go to ideas.powerbi.com.
So I want to go back to Tom's question just for a little bit. Sorry. The currency conversion rate. He posted, he said, I need it to be dynamic though, based on the current exchange rate. And so that changes, right? The dollar, it goes up and down. The value of the dollar goes up and down. And I was typing something in the chat. It's just, I hate typing in the chat. So think about though, if the exchange rate, you like that. I don't like typing in the chat. The exchange rate, I want to talk to these guys. So the exchange rate changes frequently throughout the day, and so trying to give them the most current exchange rate, you got to refresh, you got to dynamically pull that exchange rate from some source, and then you'll have to schedule a refresh of that, and then go through all the processes, then it'll pick up. So you'll have to come up with some agreement between your report consumers and say, hey, there's going to be some latency in this, because trying to do this in real time could be a challenge. Anyway.
Unless you watch the stream that we did with Marco.
There you go. I wasn't here for that.
I know. All right. K Quebec, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated. All right. Let's see here.
I can't wait for the next question.
All right. Next question. Here we go. Yeah, it's because you don't have to do anything. That's why you can't wait for it. So Michael, who's a new supporter, so thank you for that. How a user can save their personalized settings. And I love this because it allows me to highlight personalization of visuals. So a user accesses a report via an embedded link delivered through our internal application. The user then personalizes a pie chart. So that's why Patrick's excited. So they change the pie chart to a bar graph. And that's when Patrick got sad. And then switches the calculation from units to dollars. How can we empower the user to save the view so that the next time they access the report, it loads with their saved personalized view? That is a great question. So we are going to, let's go, Patrick, let's go over to my machine.
Yeah, not to mine.
Yeah. All right. So in this report, I've enabled, so if you're curious about personalized visuals and you've never seen them or anything, I'm going to go to options. I'm going to go to my current file, report settings, scroll down, and this personalized visuals. You can see here that I've enabled it for this report. You can also alter this setting in the service. And then I publish that out to the service. Let me get this. All right, let's go to and we'll go in here. So once I'm in a given report, what I can do, actually, let me go and reset it because I already had it set up. So we've got it here. You'll see this new icon here which will allow you to personalize this visual. If it's enabled, you will see this. At which point I can come in and I can say, hey, I want to change this from a matrix to a bar chart, cluster bar chart. You can also adjust the values that are there if you want, which is great. Okay, so I've changed this now and it's here. So what they want to say is when I come back to this, I want it to remember this setting. By default, actually, if the report, there's a setting to retain certain items. So if that's enabled, if I come back into the report, it will just remember what I've got. The other thing you can do here also is we can come in and we can add a personal bookmark, right? So I can call bookmark 2, and then that is my item. I can also, we can edit or make that the default so that that's the default view when I come in. And so then when I go back out and come back in, it'll just work and come back to that. So I can come back to that bookmark and bam, there it is, right? So I've got a bookmark. I can do things. This is great. The other thing you could do at this point within the service is chat in Teams. This is a trick that I have where if you want a URL to send this out to someone, it's going to ask me to log in. Oh, man. It does this every time. This is, I need to talk to the group about this Teams integration because it does this every time. And it should just know that I'm signed in. Sign in. So the idea here is that if I want to share this personal bookmark with someone else, you can't actually share a personal bookmark. So you've got to, this is a little hack I had. I did a video on this, from a bookmark perspective, not necessarily from personalization. Why are you asking me again to sign in? Oh, good Lord. I'm just going to close that. But anyway, you can copy this bookmark and you can see the URL is here. And so you can clean that up a little bit and it's got the bookmark ID in there. And so you could just send that URL out to someone and they'll hit that personal bookmark that you created, which is great. And then, Alex, I see your chat comment. I was going to come back to that. So that's a way, personal bookmarks and the personalization. This is a way you can do that. To Alex's point, and I was thinking about this as well when I read it, so they said they got it through some application or whatnot. What's not clear in the question is whether or not you are actually embedding Power BI items or not. And so you mentioned embedded application, but I wasn't clear on how you were actually doing that. So if you are embedding, as opposed to just, I just got a link in an email or something that I went to the service and I did that. So what I showed you, that would just work. If you're embedding though, you need to handle that. If it's the app owns data, you need to control all of that from a code perspective. So there is code available to save bookmarks and whatnot and control those. You've got to manage all of that though. So it's not going to be as simple as just the UI of like save the bookmark. You've got to code all of that. So cool. Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, the number of times I've got to sign into that doesn't make me happy. Anything to add to that, Patrick?
They just want to make sure. They just want to make sure it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have nothing to add to that.
All right. Cool. All right. Michael said thank you. Michael, you're in the chat. Like, clarify. Is it actually? Are you embedding Power BI, or they just get the link through some application and then they go to the Power BI service? I'd love to know like what you're actually doing there. So nice. Yeah, Matthew, same thing. Imagine how secure it is. Oh my gosh. Yes. But I'm like, I just did it and you're asking me again? Good Lord. Good Lord. So Michael said, yes, it's an embedded link. What does that mean, embedded link? Are you actually embedding a Power BI report into an application? Or what do you mean by, I don't know what embedded link necessarily means in this context. So, all right. Let's go to the queue. Michael said yes. Okay, that doesn't answer my question. So I'm assuming the yes is yes, you're embedding the report. And then you have a link to that item, which means you're going to have to code all of that. So just be aware of it. No, Heidi, there is MFA. That's part of where the frustration's coming in because I've got to do it. I had to do that whole flow twice just on the chat in Teams.
No, she said add it for extra frustrating. Add MFA for additional frustrating.
MFA is already there. It's added.
But that's why it's frustrating. You got more frustrating because of that MFA.
No, I'd be frustrated regardless. But anyway, okay. Zach's got a question. In Premium, using a data set with static RLS roles, what's the best way to enforce RLS in a paginated report built from the data set? I can pass parameters, but feels wrong and no longer secure.
But if you're part of that role,
yeah, the parameters have nothing to do with it. Because RLS.
So when I create
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, I was going to say
a really good question.
Well, because RLS is enforced at the data set, not at the paginated report. And so if you're passing parameters from a paginated report perspective, okay, well, RLS is enforced. And so if you have a parameter that says, I only want to see sales in US, then if your role doesn't give you permission to see US, you're not going to get any data back.
That's right. And so you just need to make sure you're following all the RLS, avoiding the RLS gotchas. Make sure whoever's consuming is just the viewer. Make sure that you've added those people to the role on the data set, So, because if it's not working, it's a gotcha. It should just work. It's at the data set, not the report.
Yeah. Yep. It should just work. Now, if you're embedding, that's a whole other story. So I know that was not, the RLS wasn't supported from the embedding, although they may have fixed it by now. I'm not sure. Anyway, all right. Avenger Nerd Dad, Nick, how you doing, buddy? So are either of you going to M365 in Las Vegas in December? We'll have a booth there. The answer is no. We are not. So sorry.
I knew in Vegas.
I actually did know about. Yeah, you're not going for that, and I don't think you're going to be there at the same time as the event.
Nope.
But I did know about that event, but no, I was done for 2021, not doing anything. So next year, go to Bits. It's in London. All right. And Jason, I know Jason will be there. Jason and John will be there. It'll be fun.
So will this guy.
You're not going to be there. Not at the M365 event in December.
I thought you were talking about Bits.
No. Jason and John are going to be at the Vegas event. Like that's how I knew about it.
I'm not going for it.
They asked me if I was going. I'm like, they wanted me to go. I was just like, I'm done for the year. I'm done. All right.
Wait, back to Zach's question. Sorry. He says, when I test security, it doesn't honor the RLS. That's the problem. There's something wrong. Yeah.
Well, no. That's by design. When you do the test as, it doesn't apply. So I haven't done this. Does Paginated even let you do test as?
It should work. It's not honoring his RLS. So that means it's either you didn't add the people to the role, or whoever the user you're using, their permissions is elevated.
The thing I was going to add, though, when you do the test as in the service, that will, so the base report the RLS should be applied there. But if you're doing like an export or something like that, RLS isn't applied to the export.
That won't.
So that's what I did
a video on that. Yeah, I did a video on that part. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Check your roles and make sure users are assigned to those roles.
Yes, make sure users are assigned.
Mubarak. What measures can I use to dynamically show count of selected row in a matrix? Matrix has several tables linked via relationship. Okay. What measure can I use to dynamically show count? I mean, if you're doing a count on a given property or measure, I don't understand. Like, because you wrote a DAX measure that does count or count rows on a given item, that should show it. I mean, it's going to base on whatever your filter context is, but it should show the count.
Count of rows of what? What are we trying to do?
Oh, maybe we're thinking about this differently. So Pa Beater even said you can't show count of rows. So like, are you actually trying to say like how many rows are listed in the matrix? Like you want a count of how many are actually displayed in the matrix? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know of a good way to do that. Yeah, count of the selected row is 1. Nice. Timothy, thank you for becoming a member. Also, Devakar, thank you for becoming a member as well. Much appreciated.
I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you want to do the count. Like from a DAX perspective, we can do a count or count rows on to get an actual number count. But in terms of what that actually is going to be, I mean, you could do like one thing off the top of my head, and I don't necessarily recommend it, is you could do like a summarize to get the actual listing of what the output would be for the matrix, and then just count rows over that. But I can't imagine that.
Oh, look at the follow up. Look at the follow up. When I select a subtotal, want to see the number of orders selected. So I'm don't think
so what you could do, so if I select the subtotal, I could have a card visual that's then it has that same filter context. Could I potentially get, so again, you need to calculate what the table output would be and then count the rows on that. So it's not just to count rows of like orders, like you want the count rows of what's visually displayed. So you have to materialize that and then count it, which is going to have some overhead. So you'd have to do it in DAX. So you'd have to do something like a summarize to get that listing and then count the rows on that. So like stuff the summarize into a variable and then count rows over that. That would match the given item. So is selected, Premchander, I don't think that work. I mean, sure. But again, you still need to get the materialized output of that table to know what the visual row count is. So, yeah, Pa Beater, yes, you have to account for the filters, but the filter context should take that into account unless you're overriding it. So I mean, yeah, you've just gotta do it. All right, cool. Let's move on. Kendall, what feature in the November release did you like the most? Patrick?
Page navigation.
Oh, page navigation was good. I like the format pane updates. Although we did find we did bump into a limitation on that. Which is documented, but we were trying to do like the page navigation action on a button, and apparently that's not implemented yet. So it'll come. Yeah, no, I like those. November was a good release, I will say. It was a very good release. And then Yoinky, thank you for I like that, Yoinky Doinky. Thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated. Let's see here. Yes, Yoinky, ask your question. Although at this point, I don't know that we'll get to it. The queue has a lot of questions in it, but feel free to ask the question. If not, come back next week. Super chats take priority. Anyway, for Paul asks, any way to send Q&A text to a report from an external web page and get the results back? So there is there's a Q&A visual, Q&A text from a report. So if you're embedding, yes. Because for the embedded Q&A visual, you can actually apply the Q&A text that goes to the visual. From a service perspective, I don't think you can do that. Because there's no way to pre-populate it from like a parameter go ahead.
Finish this, but after this, I want to.
You have something completely different. Oh, God, you keep going back.
Yes.
All right. So Paul, yeah. So from an embedded perspective, yes, absolutely, you can do that. If it's not embedded, then you cannot. So check out the new embedded playground for the Q&A, because you can play around with some of those things. But there is a way for the Q&A embedding that you can actually pre-apply the text from a code perspective. So you can absolutely do that. So you could potentially get it from some external source. It's just code. So just go grab it from somewhere and then supply that as a property to the embedded item from a config perspective. So yes, you can absolutely do that. And Will
Sorry,
also
I gotta go
backing
back.
me up on that, saying yes.
I got to go back to the
All right.
Which
one?
The counting the rows selected in the matrix.
Mubarak,
So if I
okay.
select one row
Yes.
and I select another row, it should be
Yes.
2. If I
Yes.
select, so can you go to my machine? Can you go to my machine?
I don't know. Can I? Yes.
Yeah, yes you can.
All right.
So you
You're
see
up.
how I have 7, right?
No, I see a web page.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, you see how I have 7, right?
Yes.
You see 7.
It's very small.
And
but
then I
can
have
see
7 items. Oh, jeez.
I see 7. Go ahead. And you have 7
Okay.
items in the list.
And then you can see. So watch this.
I'm gonna break
I
you
choose
in a
one.
minute though. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah. I see
And then I
that.
choose another one.
Yep.
And then I choose another one. And I
Yeah.
choose another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's flawed though. The count that you've got. How are you calculating that count?
I'm just counting the selected items.
Show me the DAX.
It's simple.
Show the DAX.
I'm about to.
Here's what's going to be the problem. Yeah. So, but you're doing that based on the country though. So the challenge here is they're getting it from a subtotal, and then so it depends on where you want to get that count from and what's been applied, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think how that would break. Because if you
this is not the final solution. This is not the final solution. But this is taking him down the path of what he's trying to do. I just did this like a minute ago, man, before I dropped the curse and all that kind of stuff. But it's basically showing me what I have selected. Now, it's static based on that column, but I mean, he can continue to add his flexibility from there. Anyway, go ahead.
That may be an option, but there may be circumstances where that may not work for you. So
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that's a good video, Patrick. You should write that down.
I don't know. I was just thinking about it. Apologies for the profanity, people. Apologies for the profanity.
And by the way, Patrick does have a bleeper. He just doesn't use it.
It's right there too.
Yeah,
it's like right here.
Yeah, but you have to think ahead of you saying that. You just randomly just blurted it out, and that's how Patrick rolls. So Michael, I saw in the chat, you said that it sounds like it can't be done through embedded inherently, meaning it's not there by default. So you have to code it. You can do it though for the whole bookmark thing. You can absolutely do it. So all right, we still got some time here. 2 minutes. All right, Pop Eater. When will we get a fixed version of the client version of Power BI report server? The recent upgrade messed up the display of the current rows process dialog. Sorry to hear that. Maybe in the next release. I mean, open up a support ticket if it's a bug, and maybe they can do a hotfix of some kind. I don't know. That would be the route I would go. Otherwise, I mean, they do 3 releases a year, so. January should be the next one, right? That's the next release of Report Server.
I think so.
Yeah. Because we don't actually get a regular desktop release in January, but we do get Power BI Report Server. So,
yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Alex had a question for Patrick. Here we go. I'm trying to scrape data from a public website, but I keep getting dynamic data sources not supported when I attempt to refresh. Any thoughts? I'm assuming
Alex,
that's a troll.
I asked you to fix this for me, Alex, and you said it couldn't be done. Did you figure it out? I asked you this question, Alex. Did you figure it out?
Yes. That's great. All right, let's grab one more. So Heidi's got one. All right, Heidi, sensitivity labels. Sensitivity labels affect export to Excel, stopping users from accessing if not allowed. But they can see the data in Power BI report. Any plans for Power BI reports to do the same and restrict content access? So what Heidi means is when I actually do the export to Excel, if I have a sensitivity label applied, and so say I send that Excel file to someone outside of my organization, you could be blocked from opening that Excel file because you don't have rights to open that up. One thing I will add are sensitivity labels are not a security mechanism. So if you want prevent of data or exporting or things of that nature, you have to do that from other mechanisms. So the sensitivity label in itself is not meant as a security mechanism on a Power BI report. So they can get to it because they're in your organization. What's stopping you in Excel is potentially that you're not signed in, which means you don't have rights to even see that from an organization perspective. So I think that's the way that to look at that. Yep. All right. That brings us.
Question. Let's
wait, you want
one more, please?
Okay. All right. What do you want?
There was Shauna.
Shauna's got
posted
one.
a question.
She's a new member. Shauna's a new member.
I know, and she posted it, but didn't get her cue in front of it, and then she put her cue.
Okay.
It was multiple Excel.
I got it. It's up on the screen.
Okay.
How can I change my data source from multiple local Excel files to a published Power BI data set?
Yeah. And so the first thing I'm thinking about is if you have the local Excel files and the schema is built. If the schema is built based on those local Excel files and you've published that data set out and the schema is the same, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. What's his name from Power BI Tips actually published the video on how to switch. I think it's Mike
Carlo, or it's
he showed you how to switch between I think there's an external tool that shows you how to switch between a data set, a local data set, and a live data set. And so, Shauna, I was hoping Alex would still be here so he could put the link in the chat for you.
He is.
And he's right. And so Alex is saying as long as the schema is the same, you can just update the M code, or do a hot swap. That's it. That's it, Shauna. I saw you. I saw you struggling in the chat without the queue, and then you became a member. And I say I'm not leaving here until we answer your question. So, and Pabit is right. Recreating it is easier. So if you just open up the desktop, connect to that live data source, if the schema is the same, you can literally open up the one that's connected to the local files, copy all the visuals, and paste it. It should just work if the schema is the same. Yeah, look, there you go.
We'll put that in there too. Then Alex dumped the link in the chat. Here you go, Shauna.
I saw you struggling.
Hopefully that helps.
I saw you struggling, Shauna. I wasn't gonna let you leave without answering your question. So.
Yes. All right.
You are welcome.
That concludes our in-flight entertainment for this journey. I'm saying that because I have my new flight sim rig over there, so I got to practice my captain announcements.
Well, and there was a question: is there a live stream next week?
Oh, is there a live stream next week? No, there is not next Saturday. I will get a post out on the community tab for GynaCube of what the schedule is for the rest of November and for what December looks like. We're planning on regular videos the rest of the calendar year. So Wednesday, Thursday, yes, that falls on Thanksgiving. It falls kind of around Christmas. That's fine. Videos will still be coming. The live streams will be, we're going to miss a few just because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, New Year's. Because part of the reason I'll be in Disney World. So, I could do a live stream from Disney World, but I'm not because I have the family and, that wouldn't be good. So, all right. Excellent. All right, Patrick. Any closing words? Any closing thoughts? I ask you every week and you never have anything.
You know what? For all my American friends, happy Thanksgiving. Oh,
sorry. I thought you were going to do something else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving in the U.S. Outside of for everyone, stay safe and healthy around family and friends. So there we go. And Chatmaster C said, no, I can't do a live stream from Disney World. All right, everyone. We will see you in 2 weeks for a live stream. Outside of that, we'll see you on the YouTube channel for our regular videos. Goodbye.
Wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me.